Alrighty, so got a new trailer. Pretty excited about it. It's all in pretty good shape except for obviously the floor. The other thing that I need to fix is that's old school. New way of doing things is these 7-blade connectors. So I've got a new plug and I've got all new wire I'm going to go ahead and run. The wire runs right along the inside of here. You can see where the wire comes in. They split that off there for marker lights. I don't know if any of these lights work yet because I can't plug it into my truck with that old 6-pin connector. The other thing is that I think is supposed to be the brake lines. The wires for the brakes, that is, so obviously that's trash. Yeah, so I'm going to try and get the brakes wired back up. Those two and this one look like they should work. This one is messed up. There's something wrong with it, so I'll have to get the tires off so I can figure out what's going on there. We'll do that at some point. I went to pull these off earlier, and there's, my pinky for scale. That's an inch from that one line on my pinky to the other one. I know where it's at. So that was bigger than anything I had to turn them with. I didn't have a wrench big enough to turn those lug nuts. So it's a heavy-duty trailer. Those are 3/4-inch lug studs on there. I believe these are 12,000-pound axles each. They might be 14s though. I think they're 12s, but pretty stout suspension on there. So pretty cool. Ramps, these do not have springs on them, spring assist to help you unfold them, and they are pretty heavy. So at some point I'd like to figure out how to put some springs on there to help you fold them back up. But other than that, this is a solid trailer, and I bought it about half price of what a new one would have cost, or even a used one that has a floor on it and working brakes. There you can see the wire there that I'm going to be replacing. So I've got new wire to run through here to get me over here, and then I've got some other wire that will splice in to run back to the taillights. More side markers. And then you can see the taillights. I like the way they've done this, and this is custom, but they put them inside of a put them inside of a piece of pipe there. That way they can't get busted out. Even if you back into a post or something, the lights are inset. So I like that. That's cool. Yeah, so 2 yellow side markers, 1 red one down here. Each side has 3 of these shackles. I think I'm going to add another 2 on each side, so 1 there and 1 there. That way I can tie anything down to it that I need. And then it's got slots here that you can drop your 2x4s in if you needed to put walls on it and use it to haul brush or anything like that. So I can build up sidewalls for it, so that's pretty cool. A little bit of welding I'm going to do on it, and so this has been repaired at some point, and I'm not quite sure what happened. But this piece is new. That's not original. It would have been there, but it must have overloaded or something, and kind of crunched it. You can see they welded in a splice here, so this is different than the factory welding, right? So this looks to me to be like a dual core flux shield welding process, whereas this is very obviously stick welding with like a probably like a 6011 or a 6010 rod, something like that. It's indicative of that kind of the 10 at the end of it, or an 11 cellulose flux. And then I don't know why they didn't weld this top piece here. That just lets water get down there, and then you'll end up with a pack rust that'll mess everything up. And then they did it exactly wrong, and they welded the bottom side. So now if any water does get in there, it cannot get out. I guess it can get out over here, and you can tell it's had water in there. You can see the way that's bowed out just a little bit. That's that pack rust like I'm talking about. Oh, and then they had a crack here. I just noticed that. So I'll come in here though and I'll weld the top of this. That way it'll just help keep water from going down in there. It won't add much structurally, but just sealing that up with a good watertight weld will help improve the longevity of the trailer. The other thing that's regrettable is that there's no toolbox. So I'm going to figure out a way to add one right here on top of this reinforcement. Put one in. And then it does up here though have a basket that you can throw your chains and stuff like that. And then of course spare tire mounted up there, which that's an older tire. Now the rest of these tires are new. see, they all look pretty good, except, I don't know if you can tell, but this one here and the outside tire on the other side there are both not holding air. So all the rest of them appear to be holding air. I haven't put a gauge on them to date. I had to air most of them up after I pulled it out of the pasture. I looked in the rear view and both tires on that side were on the ground. And so I limped it along to a truck stop. We got everything aired up. And, well, yeah, but, I mean, everything was aired up. So they all had 70 PSI on them when I got it home. And now this one is low, and that one's even lower. So we'll have to figure that out. We'll get these pulled off. I've got the tools now that I can actually take them off of there. So, alrighty. First thing I'm going to do though is we're going to rip all this old wiring out, and I could probably reuse most of that, honestly, but I'm not going to. I mean, look at some of the splices in it. They don't look very good. And that's that old school connection. That's only a 6-pin, I believe. Let's look at it. Yeah, 5 with the center. So that's only going to be a 6-conductor wire. These newer plugins are 7-pin connectors, or they call them blades, not pins, but so 7-conductor wire. Got that in the truck as well. It's extremely hot out here, so I think I'll try to set up a time lapse of me kind of ripping out all this wiring. Let's see, crap like that. You never know what you're going to get when you buy a used trailer. How many people have been in it and messed with it, and yeah, you know, see stuff like that, and that's just easier just to start over sometimes. It's not that expensive. So I've got the 7-strand wire, or the 7-conductor cable rather, and a new plug to put on it. So we'll start with that. We'll get that in, and then I've got some 2-conductor as well that we can break off to run side marker lights and tail lights and stuff like that. Hopefully I've got enough of that on hand. I didn't buy any more of it today. And yeah, so we'll see if we can get the electrical all sorted out, and we'll get the brakes wired back up, test them, and see if they work. I still don't know. And then, except for this one, I know it doesn't work because I'm crawling here. So this is one side of the brake, but it requires 2 wires, and the other lug is supposed to be sticking out of this hole like that one. So see, 2 wires, 2 little lugs to connect them to, and of course they're just cut off. So it does not work. Now those wires are right here. I don't know why they cut them, so that may mean that the brakes weren't working, and maybe they were hanging up or something like that, and so they just cut them out. So whatever's going on there, we'll figure it out and we'll fix it. And even if I have to replace the solenoid. Alright, so I've got a tire on this side and one on the other side. It's not holding air on this new trailer. And so I've got all these lug nuts just busted loose, and then I'm going to use just a jack out of my truck. Just what I've got. Unfortunately, that's the best jack I have. They suck. I hate using them. Try to avoid them anytime I can, but not today. So I'm going to go ahead and jack this thing up. I did bring out 3/4 inch Milwaukee impact wrench, they call it. This is it's not mine. I borrowed it from work. So anyway, I'm going to get this tire taken off, and the one on the other side, we'll put the lug nuts back on. So it'll just have one tire on the front on both sides. They happen to be the front axle, both of them, and the outside tires. So anyway, like I say, lug nuts are busted loose, and yeah, I'm gonna get it jacked up, pull it the rest of the way off, and I'll take it to work and leak check it just with some soapy water. And I suspect probably the valve stem, although this has a metal valve stem in it, those are usually pretty good. So we'll see. These are supposed to be all brand new tires. They look brand new. They don't have any notable wear on the treads. So I don't know. We'll see what's going on with it. Maybe I just picked up a thorn or something. So what's cool about this Milwaukee is that it has a setting on it. It's a torque sensing, so it won't give you full power until it gets resistance. That way it doesn't break your wrist while you're just, pulling lug nuts off or something like this. See how it went after it right there and then it stopped. That one was still a little bit tight. With an impact driver like this, generally you can just take them off without having to break them loose before you jack it up. Even if the tire's suspended, you can usually still get them off. Alrighty, there's that off. Now, with an impact wrench though, you never want to start them with the impact wrench, of course. Always start them by hand first. Get the threads on there. Kind of interesting, these are fine threads. So, and these are 1 1/8. Biggest socket I had handy was a 1 inch. That's why I had to go buy another one, or a new one rather. And I went ahead and picked up that 3/4 inch stuff because that's what they had at the store. And I knew that I had the cool tool at work to be able to handle it if I was planning on doing something with it. And I've got a breaker bar if I'm stuck on the side of a road or something. Alright, so this one's free spinning. I didn't break those loose first. I thought I'd test that. I just said you could break them loose with an impact driver like this with it off the ground, so let's find out. No problem. Valve stems, both of them. This one though also, those foamy spots, got a few leaks on the beads as well. So we'll take it by tire shop, get them put new valve stems in it, and have them clean these beads up and reseat them. They'll be able to get them sealed up for us. Alrighty, one of the tires that wasn't holding air, full air now. New valve stem. They cleaned up the rim. It was pretty rusty, both of them, and got the tire mounted back on there with a bunch of that goo in there that they use at tire shops. I'm not going to put this back on the tire yet, or back on the trailer rather. The other one's over there. Specifically on this one though, because I know this brake is not working. It's the one that's only got the one lug, so the ground wire's right there. It's obviously broke. So I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and jack it back up, get this other tire off, and then we'll see what it takes to pull them brakes apart and see if I want to deal with that myself. Big boy. It's interesting. It's you guys see that? Nope. Broke back here. Somebody's pried on it pretty hard in the past. Okay, I need to get this off. Let me get some other tools. Well, this looks terrible. Somebody has beat the crap out of this thing, getting it apart. Well, it looks like this the rotor for the drum is actually the housing for that bearing. So, okay. Alright, so here's the point at which, let me just talk to you guys real quick. So here's the point at which I can tear into this, but I'm out here in the dust and in the gravel, or I can take this to that shop I was talking about earlier and just tell them to go through the brakes on all 4 axles. Now, if I get into taking this all apart and then we get a bunch of rain and it rusts stuff up in there, then even if these bearings were good and maybe they just need repacked, they're not going to be good anymore. And then I'm going to have to replace them. That can cause me some other problems. If I had a shop that this was parked in, I'd have no problem at all tearing into this. But this is not as simple as just pulling the rotor off the brakes to see what's broken there. And I'd wanted to go through all the brakes anyway Now, I would prefer to go through those myself because even though Trail Quip, I mean, it's a good shop and I trust them, but I'd rather just go through it myself and know that it's all done right, know that it's all done correctly. I think for what this looks like to me anyway, I don't think I want to actually go through this because I don't have the right environment to work in. And so you've seen me work on some stuff in some not great environments and stuff that's dirty. People have called me out for it in the comments, and you're right, and I'm careful, but at that point it's not an option. I didn't have a way to get it to town. This trailer eventually will be a way to get that equipment to town so that I could, have somebody work on it who has the right facilities and all the right tools and the right setup to do it. In this particular case, though, I can drag this trailer to a shop that can go through these brakes and make sure that they're all fixed. So I'll supply all the wires to them, and I'll let them know this one obviously is broken and tell them I don't know about the other ones, and maybe once I get them all hooked up, the other ones will just work. That'd be great. But I don't think I'm going through brakes, and obviously whoever was in here before, let's see if I can get you a better look at that. I mean, can you see all that? This looks terrible. So somebody has really tore this up to get in here before. I can get, we have sockets this big at work that I could borrow that would prevent all of this. This looks like they probably went at it with a pipe wrench, which is worst case scenario. And then, but I can see the bearing right in there, and it all looks fine. It's all greasy. Here's that cap. So they put, looks like probably the Mystic high temp grease in there. That's all cool. That's good. All right. So I'd love to show you a video on rebuilding these brakes, but I don't think I'm going to. So I think for me it makes more sense, and it's less risk at the end of the day if I just take it to a shop and let them go through it. And like I say, if I had a building built right here where I'm sitting right now, eventually will be my shop building. So I'm on the pad to the shop building, but there's rain coming on and off throughout the week. The dirt and detritus and debris and everything. I don't feel real comfortable pulling all this apart, and because it's going to be a few days before I can actually get it fixed for sure. Probably. I mean, just working on it a couple hours at a time after work, it doesn't make sense to me. So, sorry, I'm not going to show rebuilding the brakes on this one. Maybe I'll show them to you someday, and maybe I'll show you on the stock trailer. So it needs brakes as well. Brakes don't work on it. Not sure why. May just need wired up, and they may be out. So on this one, I assume that none of the brakes work because all the wires were cut and zip tied up out of the way. So I'm assuming that the brakes on none of these work. And throughout the process of going through all four of them, I mean, that could take me out here a month to get fixed. And I mean, we're getting into the rainy season and just out here in the elements. So I don't think that makes sense to me. I'm gonna put this dust cap back on. Put the tires back on, and we'll take it to the shop and I'll let them fix it. So they have a shop building that they can pull it under and work on it, and they'll have all the parts and tools and everything they need right on hand, and hopefully they'll fix that goober of a, looks like a apprentice went at it with an old beaver. Looks terrible. So anyway, on to the next thing. Alrighty, so the other thing I've been working on here is the wiring, and this is all kind of a mess. Trust me, it'll all get cleaned up. I've got some loom coming that'll wrap all this up and make it all real nice. I've got a problem though. My left-hand turn signals, and I know this isn't technically correct. I didn't think to look that up before I actually started wiring it. And this, of course, is connected to brown. That's because I had a meter on this yesterday that was showing me that while my left turn signal's on, this was hot. The left turn signals and brake lights are not working. So my color coding here is a little bit wrong according to convention. And then I've got a separate ground block here that I just haven't installed yet because I broke a tap in the trailer yesterday. So that'll happen. What's cool about this though is what I've done here is obviously I've got these terminal blocks, and so I've got this that's not working. Well, this is a constant hot, and this is again the wrong wire. It should be black, which is actually correct. And I already had two things tied into this, and these two red wires, which again, not correct. This goes to my side marker lights, right? So what I can do is just plug, I ran out of room. You can really only fit 2 connectors per terminal on a terminal block, and you do them kind of backwards of each other like that. Does that make sense? That way they sit kind of halfway flush. And so what I did is I just jumpered over to another one, and then this white wire, which again, wrong color, it's just what I had, it will be constant hot. This goes to a light on the back of the trailer. I'll show you right now. 2 of those bulbs are burnt out or otherwise not working. I haven't investigated very far yet, but that should be hot. So in theory, those should just be on constant, like I've got the brakes on one side of the trailer. So let's go find out. Alrighty, so working on wiring this trailer up. I've been having problems with the driver's side turn signals. See, it's working now. That one is too. Although, well, yeah, that fixture's messed up. So we're going to be replacing both these back fixtures. Figured out though what's going on. It's not actually a problem with the trailer. Right? All that wiring was cool. It was my truck. 14 right there. Alright. Trailer stop turn LT. It's got its own separate fuse. Here it is. I don't know, can you guys see that? I don't know if you can see it. Fuse is burned out. So right there, new one. Now it's working again, and got some spares. So alrighty, trailer's not even finished. I'm not even done fixing it. I'm already using it though. I've had this pipe rack, specifically these pipe racks, over by, well, they've been off in a pasture. So since I had this bad build out here, I've been wanting to get the pipe all moved over here. That's kind of where I need it, and it's ultimately where it's going to go. So the wiring's more or less good on the trailer. The brakes still don't work. That's a lot of pipe, but it's handling it no problem. So underneath here, you won't be able to see it, but I can easily fit my hand sitting on the tire with the thumbs up to the bottom of the pipe. So the truck does not like that much pipe on there. Let me tell you, I've never hauled this much on it before. I actually bought this pipe in 4 loads. You can't see it, I'll show you in the morning. But trailer handles it like it's nothing. I wasn't sure if the truck was gonna haul it, but it did it. Anyway, obviously it's dark. We got 75 out here. So what I'm gonna do is grab those pipe racks off the top there. I'm gonna go set them up somewhere where I think they'll be out of the way, and we'll pull the trailer up next to it and unload all the pipe. So, all right. I had some help getting them all on here. The racks are shorter than the trailer, so it should be easy just to roll them all off. That's the plan anyway. Check it out though. Hazards on the truck. Marker lights on the trailer. Hazards on the trailer. Now, hard to see that one. That one's actually working right now. The other one's not. Those fixtures are getting replaced. Just don't have them yet. That side marker's working though. All these side markers are working, so the wiring's going great. Just need the new lights to put on the back of it, and the wiring's pretty much done. The brakes are all wired up. None of them work, so that's great. But Yeah. Alrighty, so wiring on this trailer is done. I'm going to clean that up so that it looks a little bit nicer, but I'll worry about that later. I still have this last one. I said it's done, but I've got new taillights on order. That is going to go back to power them. Part of them anyway, that's going to be my ground and the parking lamps that are kind of built into them. And I've already got the left and right side stop and turn signals turned. Pulled, that is. You can see everything's all nice and wrapped up, nice and neat in the loom. So should be protected forever. So I don't want to have to do this again, so figured just, do it once, do it right. I may still yet come back and put some loom on those brake wires there. The brakes are not working on this trailer, and I've got some extra if I need to. And then on the back here today, I went ahead and got the little cans that used to have those little lights in them cut off of there, and I've got tail lights coming that'll fit up inside of there. And like I said, they have the parking lights on them as well as the turn signal and brake lights. And this is the other end of that wire that's hanging out over there. So plenty of extra. It's right there and ready for the ground and parking lights. So all it'll take is getting that wrapped up, and then I'll be done. So yeah, looks good. So at this point, it's pretty much ready. I did some welding on it as well. There's a crack over here that I fixed, but it is now ready to go to the shop that's going to put the floor in it for me. And that's something I could easily do myself. See, here's where that crack was. I drilled a hole through here at the bottom of that crack, and that should stop it, and then just weld it all back up from there, both sides. I could put the floor in this trailer myself, but they get a price break on lumber, which basically makes it more affordable for me to just have them do it, and then I don't have to do it. So that it just makes sense. So what it's going to cost them to do it with the ground contact rated 2x8s, pressure treated, for me to go out and buy that lumber right now would be about $400, and they estimated that they can do it for about $360 installed, because since they're a dealership and shop, they get a price break on that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, it just doesn't make any sense for me to buy the lumber and do it myself by the time I get all the hardware and everything like that. So anyway, we're just gonna have them do it. And then I went to pull these brakes apart, and I showed you guys that, I'm pretty sure. But you have to take the entire hub off to get to the brakes, and so I didn't want to mess with that out here in the dirt and grime and risk getting a bunch of crap in that grease and screwing up the bearings. So I'm just gonna have them go through the trailer brakes while it's there, and they'll have everything on hand to fix them. So anyway, that's that. So yeah, next time you see this trailer, it'll have a floor in it and working brakes, I hope. Oh, and my spotlight's up there. I gotta tape that up yet. It's obviously not hooked up to the truck, but I got a cool little toggle switch here. It's not super robust, so I'll probably break it at some point and have to get a better one, but nice little switch that I can turn these lights on up there, turn them on and off. So yeah, very cool. This is going to be an awesome trailer. Can't wait to start using it. So if it's not hay, I'm hoping the first thing I haul is a septic tank to put over here somewhere. So that's coming. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.